clarifications. Ms. Darrow David.
Thank you, Chairman. Just have two points of clarification. First point, I believe, would be to Minister. Very heartening to hear Minister talk about the tripartite, or should I say, Minister, the quadripartite, because it involves 4 parties task force. Can Minister perhaps share more regarding when we can expect more details on this task force in terms of perhaps budget and opportunities? And would there also be opportunities for mid-career professionals in terms of this task force framework that is due to be set up to allow them perhaps to do a professional conversion program, as it were? Another point of clarification is for SPS Faishal. The CMS, SPS, I believe you mentioned, Centre Management System. Just wanted to ask, I think it will certainly help many parents to register for early childhood and so on. Will all early childhood centres, will it be compulsory for all of them to come onto this CMS program? And when can we expect the CMS to be rolled out into the sector? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I thank the member for his interest in the tripartite task force. This tripartite task force brings together representatives from the entire ecosystem, those who train our social workers, both pre-employment as well as mid-career, those who employ and work with social workers in our VWOs and agencies, and of course, the government departments as well. This ensures that building on top of the skills framework that we put in place very recently for social work professionals, we have an ecosystem where the tripartite partners understand the needs on the ground, including the new structures that we're setting up, the new kind of social safety nets that we're building, and the kinds of skill sets that our social workers will need to learn, both pre-employment and as part of continuing education, to pick up in order to be able to meet social needs. For example, if we sense that we need more social work intervention, say in the geriatric field, then we will want to work with our academic partners to see how curriculum can be adjusted in order to cater to this growing need, for instance. And so, as to when we can start to expect some recommendations to come out from the tripartite task force, let's give them a bit of time to meet. There have been some preliminary sessions, but allow them to meet, discuss, and they will then come out with recommendations on the various issues I've talked about: pathway, career, transition, curriculum, and so on.
Professor Fatima Latif.
Chairman,
sorry.
I have to answer.
Professionals to make the switch before SPS answers. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, indeed, this is one area that I'm looking into with great interest. I recall Mr. Dennis Tan asked me about the childcare teachers, and we know that the majority of preschool teacher enrollment each year is from mid-career transitions, and so we're now looking at with interest at the landscape for the social sector. Many come from pre-employment training from our polytechnics and our universities, but I'm also seeing how we can further strengthen career transition for older workers with life experience who want to go into social work. There are many of them who do transit. There are graduate diplomas for some of these conversions, but we want to see how this pipeline can be further strengthened. And part of the work of the tripartite task force is also to look at this.
Chairman, I agree with the member that CMS will bring great benefits to the parents as well as the operators. So all childcare centres and kindergartens regulated by ECDA under the ECDC Act will come on board the CMS, and we are likely going to roll to all preschools later this year.
Professor Fatima Latif.
Thank you, Chairman. I have one clarification for the Minister. Actually, it's pertaining to single unwed mothers, and I know the principles and values we want to uphold in society and all that. But, you know, the issues that they face and grapple with, many of them, I agree, we can solve at the constituency level through other networks that we have formed in the constituency and all that. But when it comes to policy, housing, baby bonuses and stuff like that. That we require intervention at the minister or ministry's level. So that's the first clarification. And I think usually we will appeal and re-appeal, but then, it's a very long, circuitous journey for these people, really. Pertaining to that, taking that a little bit further, I have got a couple of cases where we actually have got Muslim women who are actually second wives to Muslim men, and they are also, warped with this issue where they do not qualify for baby bonuses and other policy issues because they are the second wife of that man. So that's another area as well. Thank you.
Thank the member for her keen understanding of the challenges that single and wed mothers, as well as women in the Muslim community face, specific to the cultural context. On the former, as I said earlier, schemes that benefit all children, all Singaporean children, apply across the board, regardless of the marital status of their parents. There are certain schemes which support and encourage marriage and parenthood, and these are schemes that we provide specifically for that purpose, and that is the distinction. But having said that, we all recognize, I think all members of this House recognize, that single unwed mothers, many of them are not in that situation out of choice, but out of circumstance. And they soldier on, they care for the child, and they want the best for the child. And certainly we too want to ensure that these children have every opportunity. So a lot of the work that we do involves ensuring that we understand fully the challenges of some of these women. Stoic though they may be, they may need more support, and let's weave that support around them. Each and every community, building that kind of support platforms that I talked about earlier, so that we can address them using the variety of schemes and programs, both national, community-based and local. On the issue of Muslim wives or second wives, there is that family support that is provided to the entire family for the marriage and for parenthood and for the children. And if these families as a whole face challenges, whether it's financial or social, again, let's have a good look at the situations of these families and see how we can address some of them. Of course, as I said earlier in my speech, as a result of this tighter integration of support, when the agencies can fly through the challenges of these families, flying through different policies even on the ground, and how they interface and touch families, they will be able to identify where there are gaps, where there are kinks, where there are inconsistencies, which on the ground we can see. And if the parent ministries can then come together and see how best we can resolve them through policy tweaks or schemes or adjustments or even new policies, we will certainly be prepared to look at them.
Mr. Leon Pereira.
Thank you, sir. I thank SPS Faishal, Ibrahim for responding to most of the points in my cut speech. Excuse me. Just two quick clarifications. One is, could the SPS share with us the number of preschools that have been given that one-year extension and are still awaiting the license that you referred to? And secondly, in regards to my point about international rankings of Singapore in terms of early education quality, I referred to the Starting Well ranking report that was done in 2012. Is the government aware of other reports that rank how well we are doing with respect to other countries, and is this something that the government will monitor going forward? Unless I missed it, I don't think that was touched on. Thank you.
The bulletin time is 1 p.m., so I suggest every member try to rush through your responses and questions.
So there are 400 kindergartens, and all the 400 will have a year to get the license. And about the study that the member mentioned, that is only, from our understanding, there's only one study that has been undertaken. And if you look from the time the study was undertaken to today, you can't deny the fact that there has been a great leap in terms of the changes that we have undertaken in terms of affordability, the quality, as well as the accessibility that we have provided to our children and the families. So I, as a Singaporean, I feel very happy that we want to give every child a good start in life. And this one not only comes from the operators, but I think when we speak to parents, we speak to families and all the stakeholders, they feel that we are doing the right thing, and we will continue this journey.
Camping. Mr. Desmond.
I just supplement my colleague's response. The Lien Foundation report benchmarked early childhood in Singapore with that in a number of other countries. There was, amongst others, 3 major criteria. One was accessibility, another was affordability and quality, precisely the 3 indicators that we're pushing very hard on in Singapore. On accessibility, I understand we didn't rank well because we did not legally mandate that every child go to preschool, even though our preschool attendance rate is very high, even for those at the lower SES. For those at the lower SES with Kids Start and with preschool outreach, going door to door for each family, we endeavored to try to raise for low SES participation rate in preschool. So we didn't rank well because there was no legal mandate. In some countries, they legally mandate. But I think let's look at the results, look at the attendance rates. On quality, again, I'm told we scored not so well on that study in terms of teacher-child ratio. That means how many children there are for each child. Wages, which again, since 2012 has been going up quite steadily, outpacing the general market in terms of wage increments. Preschool teacher training, again, you see there's the NIEC, and the coming together of 3 institutes, of great emphasis on quality, both pre-employment as well as the professional development program that we put in place for teachers, for principals, as well as educarers. And certainly looking at the linkage between preschool and primary school, which again we have now a strong interface because both MOE and MSF looking after EGDA look at the interface as well. So we take that report at heart. It's been many years since. There's been no study in between. But I think we look at our indicators, where we stand, and we want to make sure that we invest heavily for our children to have the best start in life.
Let's keep clarification short. Mr. Camping.
It's a quick clarification for Minister. In our quest to provide more comprehensive, more coordinated, make it more convenient to residents, I had asked in my card yesterday and previously before whether a social service office should also consider operating during the weekends. So I'd like Minister's response.
I take the member's point. We have 3 SSOs that are open on Saturdays, and where actually, if you look at the attendance at SSOs, the most of our clients turn up on weekdays. And for those who have difficulty meeting our officers during the opening hours, office hours, they make arrangements with our officers, as do our family service centers, to meet outside office hours. So we'll accommodate them, including those who can go to 3 of our SSOs that are open on weekends. Otherwise, we make arrangements.
Dr. Lily Neo.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. May I ask Minister whether he knows on the number of vulnerable families there are in the community? He mentioned earlier that he wanted to give more help to these families. May I ask him whether MSF has enough capacity to outreach to them, and how many is MSF going to help in these families, and whether we have any target on the outcome benchmark for these families?
Well, I don't have the figures, but if you look at the bottom 20% by SES, I think that would be a group that we will first be very concerned in ensuring that we support better, particularly if they face complex challenges. And so what I've described yesterday and today involve seeing how we can weave a closer social kind of a safety net and having better social health integration in the community. In terms of Comlink, which I articulated yesterday, for the 4 centres that will open in the course of the next 2 years, we hope to outreach to 4,000 families in rental housing with young children, work with them proactively. In terms of resources, I'm very appreciative of members who have in this House openly sought more resources for MSF from the Finance Ministry in order for us to better strengthen this network. But we cannot work on our own. We work very closely with our partners in our VWOs, those in the family service centres, child protection agencies, adult protection, family violence, as well as divorce support, and community groups, including the grassroots. This last mile connection on the ground is not something any single agency can do on its own.
Mr. Louism.
Just a quick clarification for SPS. I thank you for saying that we're providing more support for non-working mothers. Can I just clarify that the non-working mothers will now be able to get the full basic subsidy of $300 as well as the additional subsidies as well?
So I thank the member for the question. As I mentioned earlier, there are two circumstances which I highlighted. Those non-working mothers who are looking for work, and as well as non-working mothers who are looking after a younger child. Right. Nevertheless, I like to assure Mr. Louis Ng that we do our best to help every mothers here. Right. We want to see how we can facilitate caregiving at the same time, support them financially. So if there are issues or things that matter that the non-working mothers are not clear or would want to get support, I would like to urge the family to approach any of the operators or ACDA, where they can actually apply for special approval, and we will look at the circumstances and on a case-by-case basis. So our intention is to help them, support them, so that we can give the best start for our child.
Ms. Tin Pei Ling.
Thank you, Speaker. I have a few clarifications. The first one, I'd like to ask Minister, to what extent does the SSO assess applicants' wealth and assets when determining how much assistance to provide? I'm asking this in the context of data. With increasing availability of data, with the advancement of technology, how might the SSO make use of this to do so, to ensure social equity? Second is the Community Keen Service and the PDD sounds quite similar. May I just ask, how are these two schemes differentiated? How do they complement each other? And therefore, how do we position this to our residents? And can the publicity towards these two schemes be increased just like LPA? Because now a lot of them ask about LPA, but they don't know much about this. Thank you.
Before I respond to Ms. Tin Pei Ling, I just want to make a clarification in response to Mr. Seah Kian Peng. It's not 3 SSOs, it's 4 SSOs that are open on Saturday half day. But again, I reiterate that the key is we'll look into this in terms of better service outreach, but certainly making arrangements to accommodate the needs of our clients if they are unable to meet us during office hours. In response to Ms. Tin's query, she's right that with technology and data and with the appropriate linkages, we'll be able to do a couple of things. One is to make sure that in relation to specific applications, say for ComCare and other forms of support by clients and beneficiaries, we should be able to have a more accurate triangulation to determine means. Second, it should be more convenient and less of a hassle for clients to have to keep churning out documents, especially if we can get them from other agencies. So these are the two things. Third is that this is work in progress, and this is a piece of work that we need to undertake with a number of agencies. And as for ComKin and PDD, I'll let my colleague respond.
Mr. Chairman, thank the member for the clarification. The difference between the ComKin service and the PDD is that PDD actually helps persons who lost the mental capacity to make major decisions, like liquidating the assets, bank accounts and all that, to provide institutional care or some other major financial needs. Whereas the ComKin service actually is to involve VWO partners in the community to help the seniors who lost their mental capacity to deal with the day-to-day living needs, like buying foods, getting monies to pay for services like utilities and so on. So these are the two services. And for the second questions of publicity to create greater awareness on the ComKin service, we just piloted this service not so long ago. We are still in the pilot stage. Once the the project is piloted, and then when we decide that it's a good scheme to roll out in the community, then we will also roll out the publicity. So it's coming. Thank you.
Mr. Seah Kian Peng, would you like to withdraw your amendment, please?
I would like to thank Minister Desmond Lee, MOS Sam Tan, SPS Faishal Ibrahim for their replies and clarifications. You know, I've been speaking at the MSF COS for the last 13 years, and I can't help but detect the number of cards and the time allocated has been declining. This is one trend we'd like to see, but as what Minister has said, even though issues are fewer, they are becoming more complicated, more complex, and it requires all of us in this sector to work more closely together. I just want to, on behalf of all members who spoke, extend our appreciation to everyone in the social service sector for their hard work, for their commitment, for their dedication. It takes all of us to make Singapore a more caring, more inclusive and more giving society. It's my pleasure to beg leave to withdraw my amendment.
Is the honourable member given leave to withdraw the amendment? I think the leave of the majority is given. The amendment is withdrawn. The question is that the sum of $2,902,846,300 for head I stand part of the main estimates. As many as of the opinion say aye. To the contrary say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The question is that the sum of $115,657,400 for head I stand part of the development estimates. As many as of the opinion say aye. To the contrary say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it.